Good evening. Officially call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we may, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Formal roll call.
Garrett Hancock,
Here.
Jason Gray, Mayor Martin,
Present.
Grant Allen,
Here.
Sally Knuckles, Kevin Hall. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda from the board packet. If you guys have any questions that needs answered? Ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Anything on the vouchers that you're concerned with?
So there's one addition, it's right on the top, on top of your,
Majors and Haley?
yes, Major and Haley, there's $11,000 bill. I have not written a check out for that, but if we can include that in the consent agenda. And then there's only one other odd one out, and that's for Chris Wechter. It's right before the sanitation check register.
10,000.
Yes. Mhm. And that is for the DSV for the wastewater.
Consent agenda with the addition of the Major and Haley and Watcher.
Wechter.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And motion approves. We'll move on to new business. You look in the packet, it's resolution 5, accept the 2023 audit. And they've got that written out for us here. Resolution 5, series 2024, the town board of trustees having presented with the 23 audit prepared by Majors and Haley and a thorough explanation of same by Lori Haley CPA hereby accepts the 2023 audit.
None of the numbers have changed from the last presentation that Lori did.
There's nothing we can do about it anyway. so-
No, there's not.
Right.
Motion to approve resolution 5 series 2024.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 5 on the 2023 audit. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we will accept that audit and move on to the next year. Looking at the RFQs, request for qualifications for a water operator. We have 2 applicants before us. We did have 3. One of them have stepped away as of today. The 2 we're going to be looking at is Dave Johnston and Chris Wechter. If you guys would review that, but I would like to set them up to approach the board and we get to know them a little bit. Is the board in favor after the clerk contacts them if we do that at the workshop on July 11th? Go and see if we can invite them in.
I don't think they're in the book because they didn't submit their stuff until what?
They didn't, they're supposed to be sealed, yeah. We asked for sealed envelopes and they didn't submit them until I called them today. Both of them had forgotten. They both got them in on time. Chris Wechter originally sent something that we didn't ask for, so I called him back and let him know to read his RFQ again. He read it again and then resubmitted, what you see wherever you have it.
Yeah, I've got it in here.
Mhm.
Then we will, is the board okay with setting it up to get a meet and greet kind of thing on July 11th? You gonna be around, Megan, on July 11th? We're gonna move our workshop from the 4th to the 11th because of the event. But if you guys are okay with that.
And we'll also have interviews for the 2
The 2
letters of intent for the town board.
to give them opportunity to see who's on the board. As we're in talking to them, they would both like to do that. And then we'll be doing that on the 11th as well. So the 2 letters of intent are
We
Karen
got Carrie
Tabor
Tabor.
and Cliff Springmeyer, is that correct?
Yes,
So what are the 2 choices? What we did the last time is we did kind of a meet and greet And then, can't remember if we did it in executive session, Grant, but I had a piece of paper filled out with boxes, and you check the box of what board member each one of you preferred, and then we counted the votes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the last one we went, 5, 6 times before we got it done. But so I'll probably do that, and then we can have Kevin and Jason both here to participate in that. And if I understand that right, that position is going to be held for 2 years.
2 years until
2 years
April
remaining on
2026.
fellowship. Okay. Sally, are you in for 4?
I believe so.
Okay, Kevin's in for 2, so then
Yep.
he's gonna be, we'll have 2 positions.
And Jason's in for
And
2.
Jason's up, so we'll have 3 open in 26, plus you and me is open in 26, so there'll be 5 seats open when that takes place. Hate that there's so many seats open at the same time, but that's the way it's playing out. Okay, animal control applications. Have we got anybody interested in taking that little job?
We have no external applications. But we might have something. Do you
Why
want
is
to talk
she
about
pointing
it?
at you?
We can, well, we kind of predicted that we may not have anybody put in for it. So we're trying to think of how that looks if the town has to absorb that, kind of like we did park maintenance. And I think on an average, quick numbers, $1,000 a month, $12,000 to $15,000 a year for animal control, I think we could fit that in with the guys pulling up that duty if we have to.
Right now, the sheriff is the marshal and he's in charge of any vicious dogs. And he's also taking care of dogs at large right now, but we're getting some people calling about skunks and cats to trap and that kind of thing. So we would have to take that on as well.
Hard position to fill. You guys can think of anything for an animal control officer, but you're right, it's about 800 to 1,000 a month we've been paying out to handle that occupation or that position.
So
We
we
have to offer some of that. I don't expect your people to absorb that extra time spent. I don't know how that would look, but
We're not exactly sure. We had a couple of options we were talking about. It could be part of their raises, in the upcoming year as we take that on. The remaining would cover the overtime call outs, because it would be the same, whoever's on call has to respond to the animal complaints or problems. I've went on a couple. The problem I have found is, I think what Adam had a couple of times, by the time I get from the office to over where the complaint come in, I don't even see a dog anywhere that matches the description of what I'm looking for. That little lady that walks the Corky around every day got chased down by a big dog, and I tried to find it, but no luck. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
we still have a problem with housing these dogs. I see in that last report, we had to keep the dog for 3 days or something like that. We don't have any kennels to keep them, right? And that's a whole nother set of standards or regulations we have to comply with.
Yeah, if I remember right from the past, we're not able to take them down to the pound in Cortez. We really don't have an up-to-date facility to house them. The only time I could see ever housing a dog, unless we just find one and we put it in and feed and water, is a vicious dog. I think you have to contain them for a certain amount of days. But other than that, I think we should avoid trying to house the dog and let in it, or just keep it. keep it
Seems
simple,
like
feed
it's
and
all-
water them and put them in a kennel. And I don't know any other way around it.
I wonder if we could create like some kind of hybrid position, since we've had issues with code enforcement. We don't seem to get a lot out of the sheriff's office for that. And then, animal control, if you combine 15,000 plus a little bit of what we paid that contract and made a position for it. If that would entice.
I was gonna ask you, did you talk to your guys about it?
A little bit. I was kind of waiting for this meeting to see if anybody did throw a letter in.
I think they go for that, I mean. That sucks for every single one. You have a call for whatever. You know what I mean?
It would, but as we're thinking of the on-call and the call-outs, we're kicking several things around, because most places, if you're on call and your weekend is, and maybe you can chime in and help, but you get a minimum hourly pay for being on call just because you have to stay within 30 minutes. Gotta be sober, it's not your weekend. And I think the conversation has come up of what about a $2 an hour rate?
We do shift differential, to your point on that, so like our night shift guys get paid $1 more an hour or whatever. And then call outs, it kind of depends on which part of KM you work for, but they really just do a 2-hour minimum anytime they get called out.
Okay, we do that, but
I think, Empire Electric and I know Body Electric, they all changed that too. Because there's rules around that on paying an on-call rate that were weird, so those guys just make. I think on weekends and holidays and nights, I think that when those guys get called out, they have a minimum. Because I've apologized to them before, like it's 1 AM and I've called out for Body Electric. And they come out and they're like, oh, that's actually a communication line. I'm like, man, I'm really sorry I bothered you. He's like, fine with me. I just got 2 hours of pay. So,
and it happens, and that's what we do. We do the
Yeah.
2 hour minimum. But there
there
is,
is FLSA productive, which means it's overtime if they work their 40-hour work week, right?
yep,
So would be time and a half.
but to maybe entice them for the call outs, because we are taking on extra duties. Maybe we can look at even, $1 an hour, because you're talking 24 hours a day, and then if you get called out, you get your minimum. But that's kind of what we were kicking around there for a minute, but
I wouldn't have an issue with that. And so I feel bad, but I would like to see you guys not have to take on and stuff.
Me too. I worry your employees are gonna come to resent that part of their call outs.
and they could, because people are people, and seems like you always get the ones that's unfriendly and want to scream. But if it benefited their wage a little bit, maybe, or do it until somebody does get interested, or it rolls over into code enforcement. But I don't think we can just let it go. I think we need to respond to certain things, especially coons, skunks, and dogs at large. That would be probably the most common. Because we're not even able to catch cats anymore, correct?
And the good thing, if our guys were doing it, they'd be here working a lot of the time, so they could respond fairly fast versus someone that has an outside job. Just to wait till they're off work.
Because there was a couple of them that sparked interest in maybe throwing in a bid. And I remember Jeremy Burge and I attempted to do that when we were working for the town's maintenance. But the only problem I seen with that is I don't want anybody to be able to say, well, these guys are double dipping if they get a call during the day. Or so I kind of talked them out of throwing a bid in, just because if you're here working and you're already getting paid a wage to be here $3.40, and then you go to get a call for a dog and you charge, it didn't look real good. But like I said, I'm open to anything,
I'd
any
like to talk.
ideas, any.
I'd talk to him about it and see if there's interest there. There's, be transparent about how frustrating that whole occupation is.
Are we still running an ad for it or whatever?
No. We had one gal from Blanding that was mildly interested. But I don't know how that would look coming from Blanding.
It won't work.
What if on the interim?
Right now, the sheriff's just handling what he can and Adams.
I guess. Can you guys handle it and we'll continue to advertise, talk to you guys and
It's
then
kind of what we're doing.
we table this for July. We advertise, you can talk to your guys and we can make a decision in July.
Okay.
Is that fair? Guess I amended the motion like to postpone this definitely until
Till July 11th, or you want to go with,
no, let's go ahead and go with July.
we got plenty on the 11th already as far as interviews.
That's the one you're gone for, right? And then your anniversary is the 11th, right?
Yeah,
Okay, but you're still gonna be here for the,
I'll be here.
okay.
Anyway, still.
Would that be the 18th?
Yeah,
is.
I moved to table this to the 18th of July. And for at Dagan's discretion, for town employees to
Absorb that.
Yeah, I got a question real quick. So based on our little rate schedule or whatever, if the guys are getting called out on off hours time to deal with it, can they get paid? They get paid about that training, like animal control person?
yeah, I
Is
see
it
why
doing
not. Yeah, maybe, actually, I'm gonna withdraw my motion for a second.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know you're making, like, where is?
You're talking about.
But we were thinking that extra money should be actually paid for them to be on call. Because if they get a call, then it's just the overtime, plus they're getting a little bit more to be on, a little more incentive to take a weekend.
I like all that. Just saying, get a little kick back, like, you gotta go deal with stuff that they do.
I had one, yeah, get me one time. It's never bothered.
I guess
me,
you
but there
need-
was one.
I would visit with them and see what kind of response you get from them, and then a proposal be brought to the board for review.
Okay,
Whether it's a bonus situation plus an extra dollar for pay or whatever we would try to do, and then a bonus maybe a reduced for what we normally pay, so the savings that we have on that can offset the increase in the salary total to do it maybe.
What,
It's under reports. It should be.
Right, before they help on.
Did he get gypped out?
Ray, can I come with one more on that?
Yeah,
If we're gonna move that to the
you
18th,
passed that too.
It's under that. What you saying, Dave?
we were talking earlier about the rate structures and we have somewhat of an internal audit that we did where the rate changes are gonna, if we follow the sheet, our ordinance sheet for the rate structure. There's quite a few places in town where that's really gonna change when it comes to the wastewater side of things, like the motel that you guys kind of know about. But we were wondering if maybe just a workshop and discussing, do we want to keep what's in place from 1996? Or would we want to look at a different way of calculating out the charges? And maybe that would be a good time to present an idea for the animal controls.
We found about 22 accounts that aren't getting charged anything. And they haven't since like 2000.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. mhm.
I have one of those.
But they were extra tabs or something? What was the-
Yeah, a lot of them are extra taps, like a lot tap, but a lot of them have a sewer and a water tap on the lot, but they haven't been charged. So that's what we found during our audit, along with some of the sanitation.
The
That's
biggest
not,
one I would say is looking at the new school, because we have their water service on now. And if I do the calculations on the way it's supposed to be done according to the ordinance, their bill will be like 2,000 something a month. Cause you go by the maximum capacity of the building. And then you divide it by 10, and then that's the units. That's kind of a rough, and I just think we need to look at that. Maybe that was 1996. I know the high school and that elementary, I think we charged them 17, which that would be 170 people.
Hmm.
But I think we should get something a little more accurate instead of just throw, because it says max capacity, that's what you go on. But that's the one that really stuck out.
and there's some places in town that used to be a cafe and they're not a cafe, or they're a cafe now and they didn't used to be a cafe, and those are all different.
Kitchens and
Mhm.
meat lockers and.
So we found a lot of good stuff in that audit that we're working
Yes.
on.
Good and bad, I guess.
Well, we might as well talk about it, don't you think?
I think it'd be a good.
So I guess, I
session.
mean, at this point, we're probably looking at the August workshop. Unless we want to do another one in July, because we've got July 11th and July 18th are actual board meetings.
Love it.
The 11th can be a partial workshop, but we do have some things we've gotta,
We have a partial workshop on top of everything else we have to do, and it's gonna be like a 4-hour meeting.
mhm.
So that would put this one in August.
So put this one in August, yep.
So we make the first workshop in August.
Mhm.
Boy, the
I
year
think-
goes by in a hurry, doesn't it?
Currently, when those guys are called out on nights or weekends, what do they get, just hourly for whatever time?
Yeah, so
don't have a minimum?
they get a 2-hour minimum.
2 hours.
Most of the time, it is overtime. And that's, or, if they get the hours they work, if it's over 2 hours. But they do get a minimum of 2, and then, or whatever they're working.
And their wages are between 17 and 22 an hour.
Man, I guess. Your discretion, don't force anybody to do it. It's a crappy job to force somebody to do.
Well, right, and we want everybody on board
Yeah.
to make it.
So if somebody's interested and they like that 2-hour minimum, let's stopgap until, and I say we re-advertise and then,
But maybe by talking to them, we can come up with a good idea.
yeah, on the
Till then.
18th, we'll just revisit. I don't know what else to do. Unless you got a better solution.
I like it. I think it plugs in. What I like about it is it gets people into the ordinances and what we're looking for. We're supposed to be held to 6 chickens. We just discovered there was never ever a time where rabbits were warranted in town. Absolutely no hares. And we think of that mess over on East Street. So I do think it gets everybody more familiar with what the town's direction is. But yeah, I do want to run it by them and see what we can come up with. See if that extra pay per hour would cover that gap.
So I guess it'd be a two-part motion. I move that we table it to July 18th. And that at Dagan's discretion, the employees fulfill those duties. And, oh, and that we re-advertise in the meantime, so we can kind of review all. Terrible.
I got it. It's okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so moved. Frosty's liquor renewal.
I talked to the sheriff and he has no issues with Frosty's renewal.
They completed the
They
paperwork,
have completed the paperwork.
paid the money,
I move to approve.
move motion to approve the renewal for the liquor license. And a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Digital accessibility plan.
Okay, so July 1st, we have to have a plan in place to have our website and all of our everything accessible, ADA accessible. We don't have to have it going July 1st. We have to have a plan of how we're gonna get there. So I've contacted Accessibility, which was, their name was given to me by Montezuma County. They're $49 a month. They go on and they make our website accessible. If you go to like Durango Toyota, you'll see there's like a little blue guy in the corner of it. So you click on that button and you can change everything you want to make it accessible however you need it. Change the font size, the colors if you are sensitive to different colors. So anyway, it's $49 a month. There's no contract. They scan it, I think, every day and then fix anything that isn't accessible. So that's probably the best option we have now. And then we've got Adobe and we've got that other thing that Liz, the grant that she got going, so we can change all of our PDFs into accessible PDFs. So anything that we put on the website is gonna have to be accessible also. So anyway, this is what this digital accessibility plan is. Mike drew this up so that if somebody questions us and says, why isn't our website accessible? We can say, this is what we're working on. And we're getting it into place.
So right now it's a monthly, month-to-month contract, no long-term commitments.
Correct. Mhm. And as soon as we stop paying, they take the little blue guy off and it becomes not accessible. Or we take our website down.
We've gone too far to go backwards.
Yeah, $600 a year.
We were worried about that when we even started the website. It was up on your soapbox about that. If that's $49 a month, I don't know if we're gonna get it any cheaper.
Thank you.
So, motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Unenthusiastically.
All those opposed? Okay, go forward with that. Right. To us about the U.S. Department of Labor overtime rules.
So anyway, you've got a little sheet on your thing. Come July 1st, anybody that's not making $844 a week is eligible for overtime. And so I broke down the two of us that aren't, Dagan's fine on his salary, but Christy and I were a little bit
Wait a minute,
from it.
let me make sure I understand what you just said. Let me find that paper.
So pretty much we can either go up to this $844 a week, or we pay overtime, anything after 40 hours. Come January 1st of 2025, it jumps up to $58,000 a year. That's insane.
If you stay at salary level, but if you go to hourly, then it's just the overtime.
I don't know how that works, because what Mike was saying, if you read into this labor, US Department of Labor, I think it says in here, it's really hard to read though. There's different qualifications where we fall into something like this. Or we make management decisions, that kind of thing. I should have that printed out.
I had something, or I found something, maybe I left it at home. But there was an exemption to it,
Okay,
and it was like you had to be supervising. At
yes.
least two
Mhm.
full-time people, training half, I don't remember all the.
That's the
qualifications.
exact same thing that I'm thinking about too.
But,
Mhm.
that was the exemption to the rule, I think. But I've been away from it too long.
And I
to
think-
say for sure.
And so that's what qualifies us as exempt now, but then I think this right here, and I could look into it more, but this is what Mike was saying. That these are now what's coming down the pipeline for minimums in order to not be paid overtime or comp time.
The hours that you and Dagan are putting in, Elizabeth's gonna be in the same boat too, is she not?
No, Elizabeth is gonna go to overtime. Because she doesn't manage anybody. So she doesn't qualify under the same rules that you're talking about. But Dagan and I manage and then make decisions for the whole, gosh, I wish I could remember those three things too. And then Christy manages also.
The extra hours that you guys put in. How many hours you guys think you put in as far as overtime hours? That's gonna be hard to come up with.
It's
if you
gonna be
don't
hard.
Account for it, you just do it. You don't ask, you just do it.
We
for the
take
money
calls
that
on the
you make.
weekends. I was taking calls on Fridays and Saturdays. I know you take calls.
And then what happens if you get a call on the weekend and this rule goes into place like it is? The staff's gonna be hesitant about taking that extra time or stepping out possibly because they're not being paid for it. It's hard to keep track of the extra hours, so you're gonna carry a time card around in the vehicle with you.
No.
So
When is it going to effect
July 1st.
of this year?
Yep, is a small step. And then January 1st is the ridiculous step.
and that's net, that doesn't include benefits.
No, I wish it did. I asked Mike if we could wrap benefit. It wouldn't help me because I take care of its benefits. So I don't use anything for benefits. And then actually, I don't think Christy uses much for benefits either. But we can't do that either. So I thought that would be our loophole. I asked
So,
him and. he said, "No."
What are we faced with? Changing your,
Yep, so
Remove
I
your
broke it
salary.
down right here, just for this year, so we've got 14 pay periods left. So that'd be approximately 5.6 hours of overtime per paycheck to even out that difference. And then that 58,000 is a stupid number on January 1st. So I would ask to go have overtime January 1st, because that's like $14,000 a year in overtime. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna get close to that.
Well, you easily do 5.6 hours per pay period. in
I
overtime
can
right
say that
now.
that I easily do that. But I don't do enough to come January 1st.
Maybe they'll change the rules.
Maybe, probably not, but maybe.
so what are our options?
Keep me where I'm at and pay me anything over 40 hours, time and a half. Same with Christy. Hers fluctuate a lot. I know in the summertime, you probably put in a ton of overtime, but then probably in January, December.
All over. It would- I mean, that time card would be kind of crazy. Okay.
Who writes this
But-
stuff?
US Department of Labor.
So our options is to go ahead and go up to this first phase have a motion on the table to make it effective July 1st. And it would go up on you and go up on you and go up on you.
Nope, Dagan's good. He
Don't go
meets
up
the
on you.
qualifications.
Or
He'll,
you,
he'll be fine even January 1st, he'll be fine.
so it'd be the two of you was what the board's looking at, right?
Mhm.
So you're saying January for sure we're gonna start doing time sheets.
Absolutely, I would say so, because otherwise we're looking at 58,000 as a wage for you and as for me.
I don't know much about them, but also, I guess, maybe this would, I don't know if this would help you or hurt you, but maybe you look at some kind of app-based time card system
Okay.
where you could
Just
log it on
log
your
it
phone.
in. Mhm.
That there's.
Well, that's the good thing. I can always go back and look on my phone and see how long my phone call was and kind of remind myself.
So can I ask a question how that would work, like, just say it's 2 weeks before Christmas, I have one basketball game left, I might not, maybe a Christmas rental, that's kind of my slow time. I may, what if I worked under 40 hours that week, but like the end of July, I mean, there's 60, 70 hour weeks easy. So you know how that fluctuates so much, that's. It
How would
seems
that
like
play
you'd have to pay me overtime in July, but what happens in December is that 1 week or,
Mhm.
I don't, how does that?
So Mike was saying, because I asked him that too, if we dip below that 40 hours, he was saying we're on salary. So we get that amount unless we're out sick or we're on vacation where we're not answering our phones, then we take vacation and sick time. But if we dip below that, we don't get a dip to our paycheck because we're on that salary line. It's just anything over 40 hours, we would be paid time and a half.
What do the rules say about comp time?
I'll have to look into that too.
That just doesn't really seem fair
'Cause I know-
for you guys to pay me overtime at a certain
No.
time, but I'll still get my full 40 hours if I only work that 30 hours that week in December. That just
Mhm.
doesn't seem
So it's just, on
fair to you.
the Fire Prevention Bureau, those guys are all salary and they're 40 hours, but they are on call. For like fire investigation. And I know they comp time, because I see it on the schedule all the time, now that I work with the schedule a lot, and where they've comped the day out because of their, to try to keep from, every once in a while they get some overtime, but a lot of times they'll bank up some comp and then they'll just take in a Friday or something and have a 3-day weekend or whatever. So I've seen that, so I don't know how that plays in, but.
I know we are not eligible for comp time right now. But
Is that from their rules or ours?
that is from their rules.
Okay. Well, then that answers that question.
So I bet we could probably have comp time if we didn't hit these minimums, we could probably comp it or overtime, which would be the same payout.
Is there an HR guru in your network that you could pick brains to see if there's loopholes?
Yes, I will continue to look through that. Right now, it's a little bit different. I'll ask Lenore if she's got anything. But I think they're all over the minimums for July.
I would expect everybody to be over the minute except us.
And then my sister-in-law in banking, she's an HR guru, but they're over the minimums because I've asked her that question.
Would a Colorado municipal,
CML.
would they have anyone that could
Possibly.
walk you through or explain things a little better?
Possibly. I've been on that listserv and nobody's been talking about it at all.
So an adjustment to meet the July 1st, we just prolong this to January 1st.
Correct. Mhm.
But this part's effective July 1st.
Correct.
So we need to make a decision tonight, what it's the last meeting before July 1st, so we would have to make a motion to approve the step up in both positions, and then try to figure out how we're gonna handle January 25, is that what I'm understanding?
Mhm.
And every 3 years, based on current wage data, 3 years, I could change.
It does-
Boy, that's a considerable increase from 35 to 58.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
Even from 35 to 43. So currently it's 35,568. And then July 1st, it goes up to 43.
I mean, a big city like Denver, where you've got a massive amount of people that can contribute to that versus
Oh,
here
yeah.
where it's very depressed, there's gotta be.
I wonder if we could even
somewhere.
write something about we're in an emergency type of thing. I don't know. Mike's been working on it a lot and he just says this
even
is
the
where we're at.
commissioners are state mandated, and I think they make a lot of money from what they
Yeah,
do.
they make into the 50s.
So,
I wish Mike was here because he
I
could
don't
help us out a
know.
lot. but-
I don't know what to do with Christie's, but 2392, I mean, we can absorb that. But pretty easy, right?
Yes, so I have the financials and I've got the payroll taken out to actual under your financials thing if you want to see, but we are under budget.
I mean, that solves half. So that 2342 over 7 months.
Mm.
6 months. Dollar.
Let me ask you this. I was one of the board members that moved Christie from contract labor from a 1099 to W2. Because it creates a lot of problems on a 1099. Is there a way to go back to contract, still offer the benefits, and take money out and so she don't.
That's why we did that, because we can't offer the benefits. right?
Correct, that's correct.
To a contract
Mhm.
employee, that's the whole reason we went down that road. Was for Christie.
I don't like working on 1099. I like
But-
W2.
But I feel like your hours
Okay.
are probably a lot easier to track than Lorraine's. Oh, I was just,
Okay, now, here's another thought.
So it works out to $1.15 an hour for me.
Could we utilize Christie beyond recreation director? Like we utilized you when Elizabeth's having those troubles. But utilizing her as wonderful grants. Is there a way to utilize her to get a benefit from the increase in pay? Just throw it out there. I don't know if she even need to be interested. I just. Megan, you got a thought?
Well, I'm trying to remember back, because that was before I took this seat. But I thought the whole reason that come up is Lenore said there was a problem with contracting the rec director.
Maybe it's just like that.
And that's why it was necessary to make that change and put her on the books. But I cannot remember what the issue was. Yeah, I think Lenore kind of drove that. And I can't remember the reasoning.
But You're already writing grants, are you not?
Mhm.
You can't hire a grant writer for $7,100.
Well, and so Christie's raise would be about $3.44 an hour.
Well, I would probably recommend moving to the newer standards and see if we can work out some plan between now and January 1st. Because if it's gonna jump from 35 to 58, now that's another 13,000, that's another $26,000. Two of them, so right,
Mhm.
on January 1st. At that point, maybe you guys can figure out a little account to talk for a time. What's the board thinking? Yeah.
I don't think I'm not building on any salary stuff for her.
Oh, that's right. Ooh,
Oh.
ooh, yeah, but if he's abstaining, we can't even vote,
Mm-mm.
and he needs to abstain. Therefore, we're gonna have to table this.
Okay.
And have it maybe part of the July 11th meeting and then make it retroactive as far as the decision if you're made.
Well, even if he abstains, we still have a quorum, right? We don't have to have a quorum.
You have to have 4.
And have 4 to vote,
Mhm.
Even if one abstains.
or 3.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, so you know,
Move the table. Your thoughts?
I would totally be willing to do a time sheet. I mean, as much as I don't really want to, I'll do that. If necessary.
yeah, and as far as the clerk position, 2396. I think. 2342 over.
Oh, I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then,
So what you're saying is go ahead and approve it with Lorraine and ask Christie to come up with a way to account for time and pay her overtime.
I hate that for Christie.
It's pain. Because then it's always,
How detailed does this? Spreadsheet be?
I would say personally, whatever you feel is appropriate.
So maybe should I bring a sample or something to the next meeting or something?
I can print you out a timesheet and then, yeah,
You guys still
I
use
have
manual
email,
time
yeah,
sheets or do you have that?
we do.
You have an electronic one?
I can email you one.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I prefer to keep it electronic easier.
Do you guys do manual time cards too?
We do.
We've got, I think, 2 solid years. They never did them in the past. But the last couple of years we've been trying to track.
How much does time card software cost?
Oh, I don't know. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I keep track of everybody's comp time and overtime. And then we just have a printed out one that I can staple to the vouchers.
so what's the board's pleasure there? We still can't vote, I still have to table it. It sounds like Grant is
I think an
proposing.
Excel time sheet would be, I mean, you can do so much with
Yeah,
Excel.
I agree. We've got ours on
Have it
Excel
anyways.
spreadsheet.
And we could set it up, format it, where you just, and it does all those calculations and even link it into your sheets. that you
We just have it
have.
on the S drive and then, so.
Yeah.
Just think
Yeah.
about that.
Mhm.
Let's do something like that. Agreed.
Yeah, sorry, Chris.
It's okay.
We'll table that till July 11th. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion moves forward.
So we will not be compliant on July 1st.
Yeah, you'll have to catch us first.
I can start a time sheet July 1st.
Well, we can't technically approve anything anyway, so
Correct.
Okay,
on July 11th, we'll make a decision.
okay.
Make a note that we did not have a quorum for that decision.
Yes.
If question occurred. Okay, employee handbook. What are we talking about there? Timeline?
So I sent the employee handbook out, I think last week. We finally got through the internal workings of it. We looked at several different counties and cities and towns. Compiled it like that. I did talk to Lenore because the county just redid their handbook and Lenore doesn't feel comfortable going through all the rules and regulations on everything that's in it. So the county actually sent it to a law firm up in Grand Junction that specializes in handbooks. So for under $1,000, they'll look over our handbook and make sure that we're not breaking any rules and we're compliant with things like FMLA and that kind of thing where the laws change all the time. So I would like to go ahead and do that.
You guys get a copy of it?
Sending it to them just to see if it's compliant. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that we're going to accept it. We can still go. through
Correct.
it and-
Absolutely. Yep.
Because I would like to take some time to read through it. Do you have what's up?
I do.
He's got one emailed.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any objection to her doing that, to send it out for compliance? Or not? Is it worth $1,000 to have that company go through it?
I asked Mike about it and he said it would probably take him a lot longer to research all of the employment laws. And it'd probably be a lot more expensive for him to do it than for just us to send it to this law firm that specializes it, and that's all they
10
do.
hours, it turned up $1,000 with Mike.
Mhm,
He's still charging us $100 an hour, right?
mhm.
Don't take that as to be a decision from the board. I think it's coming out of your budget. And you're managing the budget. Just looking for opinions. What do you guys think?
I don't have an opinion.
You don't have an opinion?
Nope. Whatever everybody thinks.
So,
What I read of it, it's an excellent draft.
Thank you.
It's got most of the elements there. I think there's some fine tuning, but I mean, it's a good draft.
We're happy with it, I'm happy with it.
okay.
My handbook.
So Dagan, Paul, Elizabeth, and myself all sat down and went line by line and went through it. Comparing it to others. We try to leave it as vague as possible, but still have everything that was necessary, so we're not stuck under somebody's thumb if there's something.
A lot of work.
Is a lot of work.
So,
Okay, moving on.
Do we want to set that for a workshop to go over it, or how do you want to proceed?
I want to workshop on it and just start going through it. Read it one phrase at a time and see if there's something that Sally's more experienced in that than I am. But
Do we want to do August 1st?
really.
Does Liz is pretty handy. Does she know how to make that a live document where people can read it and then make comments?
So I have
seen her
that.
doing that the
Mhm.
other day.
Gotcha.
And that's
Yep.
the way Shaq has did a lot of documents.
Mhm.
That way people, as they get time, can maybe read a little bit, comment, have a question.
Yep, I think I have that, so I could send that out, that live version.
But my thought is, should we do that before sending it out for compliance and let, yes or no?
So the compliance is really gonna be just looking at like FMLA, all of those things that we really don't have a say in. We can't change
Oh,
those.
okay.
So I would say I would like to send it off sooner rather than later, because that might take him a little bit of time by the time he get, not to actually look over ours, but to put ours in the queue.
Okay.
I do have one quick question. The municipality versus employer, because the Colorado's website, I couldn't find explicitly a municipality type guideline for employer. Every time I typed in the municipality question, it would take me just to a Colorado employer. So is the town considered an employer, or is there a specialty law for municipalities?
That I don't know, but I will find out.
Because that might dictate the different guidelines in that handbook also.
Let me ask you guys a question. As heads of their department, the managers of our employees have come up with a handbook. And we can go over it and maybe ask some questions, but is this a board decision to approve, or is this employer management?
I think a board needs to improve it.
Yeah,
I appreciate that you guys.
I'm
do
okay
that.
with approving it. I'm just saying, like, this is, if they get something that they like as the managers of our employees, and we get an opportunity to, I guess, look through it and ask any questions we've got, but, I mean, I'm just asking, is this a board? We don't need to be drafting this language, do we? Not for us.
I would like the board to approve it, so we have their backs and when we're approached from the town. But I think you guys are carrying the torch when you build it for the people underneath it.
I guess that's what I'm saying, is,
Yeah, this is more for policy carrying through from this board to the next board to the next board. I think it's just oversight. Did they forget to talk about something? Are we in compliance with that? I'm looking at liability issues for the taxpayers. That I would like to see that.
okay.
That's my opinion. But you guys, what about you two? You have a preference then?
No, we need to know what's in it and
Yeah.
to be answerable to.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying that we don't, I'm just,
I don't think there'll be a lot of radical changes.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to overturn what you guys.
that's what I'm saying, is that I don't know that, I mean, we ask some questions, but.
So are you thinking not have it at a workshop and maybe just have the live document where everybody can go in and ask questions and then go from there? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
That's kind of what I was picturing. I mean, an opportunity to go through and if something doesn't make sense, or question, or we feel like there's something else, maybe we can bring it up, talk about it, and we can answer the questions, and, but ultimately,
And we could do that as long as no decisions are made. That's more bringing up thoughts, questions to be answered for understanding.
Mhm.
So a live document would work, but Mike would throw a wild nut fit if we didn't keep it just informational only. It'd be easier, take less time in a meeting.
I mean, yeah,
Just make it a live document, send it out. She's probably the best board member I've seen as far as reading stuff behind the scenes. But
I don't even know that it has to be a live document,
document.
or whether it's,
Okay,
you know, a document in PDF form. I don't know that we would want it as a live document. Live document means that we can change.
we make changes. I'd rather, yeah, I just, yeah, I want to be cautious with that.
Okay,
And then we'll just read it over, ask our questions. We just have it as a, you know,
so do you just want to email questions that you have and then we'll compile it and then go over
Yeah.
the next meeting? Is that,
Yeah, I like that.
that's
good?
my thoughts. I'm one opinion, so I'm just asking.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we want to talk about the July 18th meeting with all the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on, pick and hold pig chase. Christie, are you on the floor?
I'm the one that asked to put that on the agenda because I was not at the last board meeting.
Brad did it. What Ryan did
So
best.
I know most of you know how I feel about that. I still beg to differ. I think you might have a different opinion when you're up there with me Tuesday crawling around in the dirt, getting T-ball ready the day after, but I do realize that, you know, I speak my piece and it does get overrid, but that's okay. But you guys did approve adult pigs this year. I did speak to Kyle today. He's not gonna be able to get those, so it's kind of a moot point, but you did approve adult pigs. And I just wanted you, I don't know if there was any discussion on that, but these are 300+ pound boars. I confirmed that with Kyle. That is just asking for damage to be done to our field. That's a big difference from a little pig and kids chasing it around versus these adults. I think it's pretty logical to think there's gonna be damages when you allow that size of a pig and adults chasing them. So I'm very disappointed in that. We work our butts off up there and it's very hard to maintain that as it is. We're on secondary water. We can't afford to replace sprinkler heads and stuff. And I understand we have contracts with Pick and Hoe and they are responsible to fix that. But why would we set ourselves back like that? Why would you allow adult pigs on there? And I would just ask that the board, again, I know they're not having them this year, but that needs to change. It's one thing having the little pigs, which I still would prefer none. We're using a facility that's actually set up to do that, but we can't allow adult pigs chases on that field. We work really hard to maintain that field, and our community and our kids deserve a nice field. To what? So Pick and Hoe can have an hour of fun. I mean, do you realize that how much work that puts on all of us? It's just not right. And I felt it was important to address the board with that. And I think that you should not allow adult pigs. That needs to be changed. I know you voted on it, but I would ask that to be re-voted on for sure. That's just asking for damage and it's not okay. In my opinion.
Voted with you guys last time.
You did. I remember.
And I wasn't that.
David.
Lorraine actually brought up a pretty good idea as we look at winter maintenance on the trees and, you know, being a part in taking either the limbs to cut the cost or taking up the chips, that they could just grind the tree limbs up into chips. So that sparked a pretty good idea. Would you entertain like an area full of wood chips for the pigs?
Are you gonna have all the stands and the covered stands in that area? That's, I mean, that's the biggest, and I understand. I understand your frustration, and my question, we may not have had adult pigs last year, we have pretty big pigs. And I do feel like
300-pound pigs.
we had pretty big, I'm not saying they were, I said we didn't have adult pigs. What I'm saying is I did try to do a very good job of cleaning that entire field up afterwards to make sure that, you know, I agree, I want the park to stay, you know, good for the kids, and if I'm in charge of making sure that all that's cleaned up, you know, then I wanna make sure that it's put back the way that it was, you know, and, as far as another area, and my reasoning behind that is because a lot of the older people have no shade, they have no place to sit, and if they're up there watching their grandkids, or the parents are up there watching their grandkids, there's nowhere else besides right there to allow them. And I mean, yeah, we tried it, you know, over there where you have the bleachers, and I understand that there's no cover there either, which, I mean, grandparents walking all the way over there, I don't know, to me, right there where the stands are, where everything is, that's where I want to continue to do the pigs, for the simple fact of that's where it all happens, and that's where the stands are, and that's where everybody continues to sit. And I'm thinking of personally older people, because the stand, it's covered and they can sit down and they don't have to worry about walking all the way around somewhere to go see a pig chase. And that's where that's my reasoning for wanting it to stay where it was. That's my reasoning for having Kyle do it the way he did it last year, where everybody ran into the field instead of out, so that everyone can see where they're at and see it coming in, instead of, you know, where they used to line up and go out and chase it. But that's my reasoning behind wanting to keep it where it is. If that makes sense. I mean,
And I totally get that. I get it's better seating.
and
But
I mean, if
still
where
think
we,
there could be a solution to that, or some canopies or covers, or if it's just seating and shading, that would save a lot.
And room, I mean,
I
there's not
mean,
room
there's
over
a
there,
fence
so
there.
I don't,
it's all
2 years
fenced in
ago.
right there. Everything is fenced in. You know, as far as the chasing of the pig, unless, I mean, obviously if the pigs get away, we all know how that works, which it's all fenced in, so they can't get out anyway, which is another reason why it's nice to have it there. But a lot of it happened in the dirt. And I'm not saying the dirt isn't important, it is.
The little kids
You know,
mostly do, but adults, there's
but-
no way you can contain it to the infield. This is-
Well, I mean, they run from the fence into the infield.
Right.
I understand what you're saying with that, and I'm, you know, we will both agree to disagree in regards to that, and that's okay. You know, like I said, again, I will try to continue to do my best at putting it back exactly how it was, and if that means me raking the dirt up and trying to drag the field and make sure there's no, you know, anything like that, or fixing a sprinkler, I mean, you know, I'm willing to do it, but, you know, I still would like to keep it right there.
How big are the even the little pigs?
Oh, they go from about that size to that size. Well, yeah.
Oh,
The adult pig chases are 300+ pound boars.
The older ones are, I would say 200. I don't know.
I worry more about the safety of the adults when they chase those 300-pound pigs around, 250-pound pigs, they get crazy. But,
I mean, you're chasing a grown adult, chasing a pig, you dive on it right there. I mean, you know that sprinkler head's gone. You know there's divots in our grass. You know that's a lot different than a 12-year-old kid chasing a smaller pig.
I think we've had worse damage to people tackling the pig than we ever had the field. We've had people knocked out and all kinds of crap. That would be good. What if we just limit it to up to X amount of age?
Well, and originally, that's what you guys did. That was the compromise you made. We wouldn't do adult pigs, but it seems every year, I mean, they have full reign this year. We're right back to where it was.
It's a fair
Nothing I
point,
said
so we
mattered
can cut
at
that out
all.
for the future.
That's how it made me feel. Because literally, she has full reign of just like it was all before. We didn't limit anything. You gave her full reign with those pigs this year. Nothing, no age limits, nothing. And that's where we did start before. Yeah, okay, well, we'll let them on there, but we're not gonna let the big pigs on. And that changed this year. I wasn't here. I don't know the discussion or if there was one, but that's what you did before. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Well, it's a fair point, so we'll cut out adults in the future, but, I will be adamantly opposed to ever putting it back over there. I mean, I was myself, I am adamantly opposed to moving it back over there unless something is dramatically changed. I missed the complete pig chase. And as we walked away with a group of people that all felt the same as me, you know, like, because nobody got to watch anybody do it except for a few people that were able to crowd it. It wasn't set up. I mean, my parents are like trying to get up there so that they could see Braxton chase a pig. Couldn't do it. Me and Jennifer there with a stroller, and I just was like, well, this is pointless. And so
Maybe that was a bad setup, but I still
It
think
is.
there is a solution to that. Just because it wasn't set up right for seating and viewing that year doesn't mean that there's not a solution to that. Again, I agree, it was tough that year. It was,
Well, until we come up with something different, I mean, at fair point, we didn't actually think about it, we didn't discuss it. We approved that, and I don't know that I personally thought about the fact that we missed that, so, fair point. No taken, we won't do it in the future. But as far as the location, you know, I just can't imagine that there's gonna be damage caused to, I mean,
and the little.
sprinkler
things
heads
that
are
they
not
did,
gonna
and
get
don't
broken
get me
by-
wrong, Teresa did a great job last year making sure everything was right back to where it was. It was probably one of the best years we've ever seen. She hands down does a great job there. So that, you know, I'm not trying to say they don't. But
What is the age where it goes to adult pay game?
18 and up, so last year we did what, I think we did 16 and 17-year-olds, and that was a cutoff, so 17 was the age limit. We could go to 18, like 16 to 18, and that's the, you know, I think we did 16 to 17, because 18 you're considered adult and out of the house or whatever. So 18 and up was adults, and we did anything below 18.
Okay. Moving forward, we'll go ahead with that. Thank you for your comments. Town cleanup day, July 13th. We're still on tap
Still
there.
on, yep. Mhm.
Thank you.
So I don't know if anybody will be able to come and help July 13th at all from the board. I don't know, Lori,
Megan, I heard there was some discussion with Rob Howell, being a community member. We want to go back to the Rob Howell way of handling our metal. Or do you guys want to stay with?
So
Salvage.
there was a discussion that happened the other morning. You know, Rob kept referring to a deal that was made, and Rob has been real good in the past. We just pile up the metal. We don't have to worry about getting the containers, because that was always kind of the issue from belt sellers. And then he comes and cleans it up and he hauls it off. The thought this year is the guys kind of wanted to save the scrap metal and see if they could recoup enough money for a new set of DeWalt cordless tools. We only have one, but everybody shares. So the reason we wanted to keep it is to just kind of fund our in-house tools without taking it. You know, this year's, if it ever happens, we have 4 or 5 55-gallon drums full of brass. Brass is really high right now, so we're gonna gain there. As far as scrap metal, I think the conversation did go is let's see where we land with the metal in the container. Let's see what they give us for it, because it either will provide tools or it'll provide a credit if we need a piece of scrap metal and we can just go down to Bell's and pick it up. And Rob, I think, was interested in maybe honoring that, but before he just did us a favor, and it was a huge favor. He come and cleaned it up, he took it, it's gone. We start over the next time. But the guys really thought that it would be worth our while to salvage it ourselves and keep the little bit of money that we made. That's where the conversation left off with you and I. I don't care either way. I thought it was a good idea, just because that shop does need some new tools. So Rob made the comment, you know, why didn't we stay local? Again, I didn't know there was a previous deal. We wouldn't mind them taking it and then maybe giving us a little piece of the pie to put put back for the same reason. But I think Rob left on good spirits and good terms and maybe good ideas coming.
I have no problem with the idea, but if we're that short on tools, I would like to see us talk about that during budget time too. And, you know, if we only have one set of power tools, that's of course.
That's it, yeah, we have one impact, one drill.
Yeah, so I mean,
That
if
we
you got someone
share
working on
between-
like the water plant and someone's got to go look at.
So that was the thought behind it. I didn't realize it was gonna become such an issue.
Well, I don't think it's a board decision whether who you get. I mean, I get you guys do that, but it's not a policy thing. But I like the idea of gathering whatever money we can outside the budget to replenish an expenditure that refund that. Or did you make any commitments to Rob, or are you still pondering it?
We didn't, so Belt Salvage actually reached out to us and offered us a container to put it in. No charge. Then we get a certain percentage of the metal that they take back. So I don't even know where this is gonna land. So, you know, at the end of the cleanups, I guess we'll see what money comes in, and if we can work it out with Rob, I'm good with that too. I really didn't care either way. The last year Rob picked it up, he did want me to introduce the thought of possibly moving the metal pile for the cleanup day and just have everybody take it out to Thirsty Birds. He has a pile of metal out there also that he gathers and picks up and takes to Salt Lake. With that, to me, that there's no overwatch, there's nobody out there, you know, it kind of takes it out of our yard. So I didn't realize he really wanted to keep doing it, because it's really not that much metal, depending on the year.
So we're set up for July 13th,
Yeah.
taking limbs as well, up till you're gonna try to go to 4 o'clock, is what you're gonna try to do.
Hey, Megan. I want Garrett. You need a set tools. You guys shouldn't have to like ground up some scrap metal to make you extra bucks to buy us some tools.
Well, and maybe it wouldn't go to tools, maybe a big barbecue. There was lots of reasons that they had to keep it.
Okay.
And it was just
Yeah.
for shop use.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's, if it's something extra like a barbecue for cooking lunch or something,
Right,
that's cool.
you know, because we
But
don't know.
if
how
it's a
much-
set of D-Wall tools, I mean, you can get the full set for what, $850 with everything.
Wait till Black Friday and outfit his truck.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of very frugal people. I don't know if you've been to the shop
Really
lately,
do.
That's
but
awesome. I'm
They took
stoked
apart
on that,
metal.
But it also makes me kind of feel bad as a board member. We're managing really
No.
hard,
That's
but
right, I'm like,
it's crouching up to
well, I
all
mean,
of us.
I do like the fact that guys think about the budget and the cost of tools.
Yeah, so that's cool.
And the little extra they could do. If you ever go look at the old sheriff's office, they redid that, and look at the soffit.
I did. after
They
Paul
took,
mentioned that.
they took all the baseboard heaters that were not in use in the shop. And that's what they face the fascia board with. It's really cool. They reuse everything. It's pretty cool. I think it's unique.
Okay, sheriff's report.
It does like that number for tickets, doesn't
it's always, it changed a little bit
It
this
went
year.
up
It
by 10.
did. It changed a little tiny bit.
Jason talked to me about one of the county's gonna be retiring some cars. Maybe we should think about buying an auction car or something to put out here in the front, putting that radar gun in the front.
They fly through here. I mean, we can hear it on the inside before we even see them. They just fly through.
I don't know how they missed out. one semi locked every brake up to stop hitting a car here in front of the VFW the other day, and I was just holding my head. But maybe if we could buy a car that has a sheriff's symbol on it, or something set out there and put that radar, didn't they give you a radar detector? Does it work?
I don't know, if we tried it. I don't know if it
You
works.
know,
though.
that time we had all that construction going, I thought that was like the best ever. Maybe we should have a big construction zone. Every time. You gotta slow down through the cones.
I would be in favor of looking at that, having a little car with a radar detector out there, whether it wrote tickets or not, but.
They had one set up in Moab last weekend and
Yeah.
there was a lot of people slamming on the brakes. They definitely work.
I know that, I know that, Mike is working on it, but when are we gonna review the
Yeah,
sheriff's
sheriff's
budget?
contract.
It's gonna July 11th. So sorry.
Does the sheriff know?
He does not. We're gonna do it in an executive session, so we can talk about it first and then present it to him.
No, it was
Okay.
Okay.
Recreation Director, Christy Judd.
So wrapping up baseball and softball, we have one more week of tournament and some regular play for the little guys. But almost made it through. We'll be fixing to start T-ball soon. We have registration open for that now. They will start playing July 9th. We have to get that going so we can get it through before school starts again. I've also been running the summer activities program for youth. So far, we've already served 73 kids there this summer. We've got to do a lot of fun stuff. Gus has came and done entomology with the kids. The San Juan Mountain Association came and did archaeology with the kids. We've cooked pizzas, we've had games. Julie Keidel in public health came and did some fun obstacle course stuff and talked to them about the dangers of vaping and things like that. So it's been going really good. That will run through July as well. So 3 days a week. So also I think we have the bid out to fix the community center windows on the one side. That is out till July 15th. I don't think we've received any bids as of right now, but that is out. So hopefully we'll get some bites on that soon and get those windows replaced and quit leaking. Otherwise, we've been doing a lot of stuff up at the park. If you drove by lately, you may have noticed doing some cement work. The guys are gonna put in a new table up there, a lot of gravel. The benches from the sorority have been installed in the park. So they've been really busy up there. It's looking really nice. If you haven't had a chance to swing by, I encourage you to do so.
I was glad to see how much gravel. I think that's in the
Yeah,
Looks really good.
it does. It looks really nice. So
Is that anything to do with the gazebo and stuff that Candy was doing? or is
no,
that-
that's
okay.
completely separate. The benches were from the sorority and that was something they had done last year. They just got installed. They weren't done until the winter time, so.
Those are the ones. Like the water, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yep, so they are up there around the new playground equipment, so you can enjoy them and watch your kids play. Yeah, but really, that's what I've been up to, pretty much playing with kids. It's been a busy summer, it always is. We'll have swimming lessons coming up as well. They will be the last 2 weeks in July. And I'll be opening registration for that next week.
Last 22nd.
Yep, I've already spoke to Lorraine and Paul about the bus
Okay.
and so that we can have that ready. Sorry, that was kind of really short. Do you have any questions for me?
Any other questions for Christy? Okay, Megan?
I'm not gonna get into great detail, but I did get an update on reservoir number 2 drawings. There was some things going on. Mr. Feeney actually flew to Denver to meet with ACOM head management people to discuss the charges they were wanting to impose on our little town. They got us to the 90% drawings, and then, as you guys remember, you guys voted in favor of the extra 30 some $1,000 for the extra drawing details. That wasn't the end of it. So, long story short, Mr. Feeney and his boss flew to Denver. Mandatory meeting, they just went to his office, hashed it out. We're moving forward as agreed. It should be about 15 days, we'll get to finals.
They shaved off like $100,000.
Yeah, it was over 100,000. They were wanting on top of the 30, and so.
For what?
The extra detail sheets that the state of Colorado Dam Inspection Engineering Division wanted to approve the plans. So they thought it was, I think it was more than that. I think Todd Finney was spot on. They get us all the way to 90, then they're gonna hold it hostage until they get what they want. So my hat's off to Todd Finney. It's just outstanding.
That's awesome. I mean, that's pretty dirty. That's dirty play.
Yes, classless.
And it's something that we probably missed in scope of work, and I don't know. When I asked that the last time, did we write this wrong? Or they had that latitude to do that? But I mean, I think when all this is said and done, that you know, I don't even know how you do it, but we ought to drag somebody's name to the mud.
I think it's already happened in the engineering world, because ACOM is they're probably the main company that does these kind of drawings. And Sauter Miller said they would never use them again. They thought their words was classless. Adeline, yeah, so I think it's already happened. I was glad, like I said, I was glad it turned out the way it did. I was glad Todd went up to meet with them on our behalf. You know, I think in the scope of work, it's hard to get everything. And I thought the 30,000 was reasonable for what they had to do above and beyond the scope. But when Todd finally told me the numbers that they were looking at, it was way out of line. Way out of line.
And they're out, if I remember right, guys, when we reviewed that contract, it was a specific, if the state of Colorado keeps coming in and making changes, I believe there is a disclaimer in that contract that we made with ACOM, gives them the right to increase that price every time we have to rewrite something, or a state comes in and makes a change after they get to this point, then there'll be extra charges incurred, but we paid him a fortune. And then I've been fuming at it ever since. If the next time we do this, where is the accountability? Where's my timesheets? And if they want me to get involved with them, I'll get involved and I'll have them give me some weekly timesheets, what they're doing. How many times are they talking on the dadgum phone? How many times are they going for break? How many times are they just dinking around talking to people? If they want accountability, I can make sure get in there. But I was livid.
And I don't know how different states operate. You know, I have a pretty good relationship with Dan Gavin, our inspector. And he was very clear throughout the meetings and involved, saying, you guys need to get to your 100% because we're not even going to look at it. Even though he was involved kind of walking us through, and they would change this or they'd do that or add this sheet. Ultimately, these plans were supposed to hit his desk in February. And then he could go through them. Now you get the big picture of what needs to be changed or any different, any time difference in drawing. So I think it was just bad management of ACOM. And it's just because they're such a large firm. So I'm glad to move forward, and because we were supposed to be planning on going out to bid in June. And we haven't even hit the desk of the state, so we are moving forward. I can't wait to see them.
I can't wait to break
Yeah,
down that whole thing.
The next one that would be like that too, we need to put a, some kind of deadline on it, and they'll pay us back for every day over,
Great.
when we interview or however and I don't even remember the specifics of how we come to that. I guess Todd Bennington, he set that whole thing up, right?
He did in the original
That's why he
contract. See, and where the major dilemma came is we were working through and we were moving along pretty good. They had a timeline. And we were pretty much on schedule, but then the thought of maybe not going as deep would save us money. And then just having a higher dam embankment, which would still fall under the jurisdictional guidelines. And that would have saved us a lot of money as far as dirt work. So there was a month there that I had to find a place and install a gauge on the raw water. We know it normally doesn't turn on till June. So there was a dead spell there, and it seemed like, I think that's what triggered and upset them is we couldn't get the water. I couldn't get them any numbers until the canal come live.
It's funny that it upsets them though, because that's the whole reason we're building the second reservoir.
Right, but yeah, so, and it worked out, we couldn't do that with the hydrology numbers anyway, so. Yeah, what a mess, but moving forward, and that's good news.
So I'm stuck on the 90%, I'm sorry. So when you said we were at 90%, but now it's settled, I mean, I guess.
So, Todd Feeney is actually at CML right now, but he's gonna be getting with me next week. He went up there probably close to a month ago and met, because I was aware of the meeting going on. And after the meeting, they said 45 days. This must be completed. So, and that's why I said, I think we're down to the 15-day mark. And then we should get to 100% and be able to put them on the state's desk.
Oh, okay.
But I'll have a little more information next week once I meet with Feeney again.
A few months ago, they got us to like 90% done, and then they came back.
Right, and that was that 30,000
Yes.
that we had to do or start over with somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So we gave them that and, okay.
I think that was the end of March.
So, yeah, as soon as I get it, I'll share it with everybody. Hopefully, move forward. I don't expect it to be in the engineering office of the state too long, because Matt's been waiting on it forever. But the thing is he has slow times and he has busy times. And that's where we were supposed to fit in, and it was perfect picture for him. So, but I don't know where that lies now. So.
September. Think we can have this started in September.
I would really like to see us go out to bid this year. That way we know a number from the local companies or whoever's interested.
The same
Because
time it goes to the state, can we prepare our bid packages?
we can, but
If they make changes.
if they make changes,
I mean, but we could have a bid packet prepared, and if there are some changes. I mean, we
It
have a
would be-
bid package
would
where
be-
the second
a
that
few
the
changes
state
in the way we go.
gives us the blessing, the bid packets go out.
Yep,
Boom, we can actually, and
Save a couple months maybe.
yeah.
yeah, no, I
That's what I'm saying,
agree. I
is,
think
do you think
can
we can
start
break ground in
preparing that
September?
and then break ground.
Yeah.
I would
October?
love to. I would love to, but before we jump there, I would just like to see a realistic number, because I think we all agree 5.4 million is
We need to find
way out of
somebody.
line for the price that should cost. And so I'm really hoping we get some bids, we see the actual number. My feelings is it's gonna fall in the 3 million range. My hopes,
Still stuck with Davis Bacon wages though.
we are. And that all comes from the congressional
I'm
spending,
anxious
correct?
to get it, I'm anxious
does.
to get it out to bid. And so we can see what a realistic number is
Yes.
to complete the project and see if we have the funding to do it.
So is Todd gonna prepare a bid package? Who's gonna prepare our bid
I
package?
believe that is Sutter Miller. Let me double check that next week.
Can they start them? And have them put together?
I will ask him that.
Because I guess what I'm,
Because they already have an Excel spreadsheet of the dirt work, the lining in the costs. So it's already somewhat prepared, but yeah, I will ask Steve.
I would like to have them do the bid package.
I'm just thinking, like, if we have something that is ready, minus the final few little things, then,
Save at least a month.
yeah, we could get the because this is government, so we're gonna have to go take 5 times as long to do everything, so if they've got it prepared and they just have to make a few modifications based on whatever comes back from the state, we can go to bed right away.
If I remember right, Dave, Todd already offered their services for a contractors meeting. You know, pull in those
Yes.
contractors that are
I remember talking about that.
interested,
Yes,
that they would oversee that.
Yep.
And then they could talk with the intelligence necessary,
yes,
and it's gonna be above mine.
a lot of it will be above mine. Well, when you start looking at the vent details for the lining,
And then, I guess, I know I asked this before, but I don't remember what the answer was. Is Sauter and Miller gonna be our owner's rep, or are we gonna hire our own? For this project?
Ask him that question.
I believe, I do not believe that's
Is it,
in the
a con-
contract.
is it a conflict of interest? That Sauter and Miller is our owner's rep?
I do not believe so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Ask questions.
Would it be better though for us to have our own owner's rep, even if they're doing the administrative side? For a project this big? Because if we get, and on the day-to-day, we could have the board. I think that we need an owner's rep. And I think that it needs to be somebody that we, you know, on a project like this, we give them the latitude to be able to answer the day-to-day questions. Because if they have to wait to ask the
Right.
board, right?
Yep.
Then this project could get delayed by months and go millions over budget.
Yes, no, and I agree with that. I think on the day-to-day, if it's, if it's something that I couldn't answer or help them, or I thought needed to be brought to you, but I don't,
Well, so I guess where I was going with this, we had interviewed Jared for kind of this purpose. Where, Jared's contact, like, I guess how I picture this, whenever you have an owner's rep, you have a person who has a latitude to make small changes, answer questions, because they're going with the intent of the board.
yes,
And then you don't have to be there every minute of every day, have a meeting every morning, be out there and dealing with it, because you've got a full-time job. And then when the big questions come up, then they could go to you
mhm,
and or the mayor, and if it becomes something that's major change order, then we have to involve the board.
right,
I think that it would benefit us a lot. The thing is what is it gonna cost us to get somebody like Sauter and Miller to be that person? Would it be better for us to basically hire our own owner's rep. It works.
I think that is a good insurance policy. Because then if something doesn't work, or it comes out to be wrong, that's who that falls on.
Yeah, that, and also then we also don't end up with, and where I first heard of this concept and where I always go back to is Green River, Utah. Emery County, Utah, actually. But the Green River Fire Department built a $2.5 million fire station for $9.4 million. And it was 18 months behind schedule. Because they didn't have an owner's rep, and because every single thing had to go through their district board of directors. So every single time, every month, the district board of directors would have like 280 questions, and it was stuff as simple as which direction do you want the doorknobs to face?
Right.
What color do you want the hinges, to major things like a discontinued garage door that they decided to change, but they can't. And so an owner's rep gives us somebody who can work on behalf of the board in the town of Dovery.
Yes.
And not have you there every single day for hours, taking away from your full-time job, putting extra stress on you. And so I guess where I'm going is, if you think so, I kind of feel like as we go into a $3 million, $4 million, $5 million project, that it would behoove us to come up with an owner's rep. I don't know if Jared's still interested in that, and I don't know the time frame. There's a few people in our community that would make great owner's reps. They've been
Yes.
construction managers. I know one in particular that probably would not do it, but I would really, really encourage him hard.
Me too.
And have to abstain from that vote since he's my dad, but I just feel like it would save us. And I'm scared to death of getting into this project with all these federal requirements and all of this stuff and not having somebody who's working on behalf of the board and it not be Sauter and Miller.
I agree.
I think Sauter and Miller is a great for the administrative side, right? And carrying through this, but I don't know if they could serve in that capacity and also be our owner's rep, nor do we as a board, a municipal board, want to give them the latitude that we give to an owner's rep. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, let me ask that question, see what that looks like.
Okay.
Because you're right, you need somebody that's very familiar with the funding and how it's supposed to be spent, what you're supposed to buy and where. Because all that's could potentially slow you down.
And that's
So-
a Sauter and Miller thing. I think that they've got that part.
Yep.
It's
So-
the owner's rep though, that is there to act on a day-to-day capacity. And without, hiring a replacement for you, because I want an owner's rep with $3 million or $4 million on the line to be there every day.
And I'm not so sure I want big and fulfilling that role.
I don't,
That's a lot of stress, and you don't need the additional stress.
I agree. I guess that's where.
Yeah, let me see what that looks like. Let me open that door.
But if we start working on this now, then maybe we can break ground in September.
Because I will be meeting with Todd Finney, because he knows we wanted to be out to bid, right? During this month,
Okay.
so.
Cool, and then maybe, not on July 11th, but maybe.
On July 18th or August 1st.
Yeah, maybe we as a board start to lay out a roadmap strategically of how we want this process to go. Get all of our ducks in a row where second the state gives that approval, we can just pull the trigger and drop it. Advertise, make sure we have a long enough advertisement time to get some good bids in, have some bid hearings or bid meetings, with contractors, walk them through and also hire an owner. I think.
So, just a question. Contractors, is this something that if we do hire a contractor, is it gonna have to go to the state since they're approving everything? I mean, does it have to be some big name contractor from California or back east? I mean,
No, well, so
can it be something?
correct me if I'm wrong, but we basically, Sauter and Miller Sutter Miller can't work as our general, right? Is that what they're
Whoever,
contracted to do?
the bids will be,
The bid
for
for
the
the
general.
general work.
SMA, we would more than likely want them in a position of owner's rep or oversight. But the general contractor would be the bid packages that would come in. It can be local, it can be out of state. I'm hoping we draw several people's interest is what I hope, and then we get a competitive number.
I was just thinking that maybe it had to be like a company that would build like a skyscraper in New York, and then it'd take them months to get here and moving equipment and setting up people. I mean, that was my envision. I didn't know if we could do local contractors, like, I don't know, Four Corners or Thirsty Bird, or I don't even know if Cresslers are still in business. And I mean,
I think we make them aware of the bid package and let them go over it and see if it's something they want to pursue. I
but
definitely
it
think
can
local.
be basically any general contractor.
Mhm.
Okay,
There's certain requirements that they will have to fulfill.
Yep.
like they have to be bonded and
That's not-
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we have to do this Davidson Bacon.
Be nice to find a local that would go ahead and realize the value that it wasn't vacant, but yet reduce the equipment cost per hour and lower the bid instead of having a reasonable for the equipment and a reasonable amount of wage. If you're gonna get paid here for wages, then pad that sucker and then bring my equipment cost down.
And then she has a very good point about the mobilization piece. You know,
That's a huge piece.
yeah, that's a huge piece.
This is a simple job as far as I'm digging a hole.
It is, and then sub out the liner, basically.
Yeah, and that would be up to the general. The general would take all that, everything in the package, and then they'll have subcontractors with this special.
So am I incorrect in thinking that Sauter and Miller are gonna administer this project? And yet we still would be good to have our own owner's rep on top of them?
So I really do believe they would be interested in
I'm sure they would.
in looking at becoming the owner's rep.
And
I think
I,
Marty Howe would be that guy.
so, and I agree, and I do. I believe that they would love to be that too. I'm asking if
You
Sauter
want,
and Miller is the best owner's rep, or do we add our own owner's rep on behalf of the board?
I think it's the same process of getting your general, is let's see who puts their name in the hat. And let's make sure we pick the best fit.
move on to DSV.
Don't rush me. Okay, quick note, running really behind, okay. So we discussed a possible letter, an informal letter, letting everybody know about the recent, byproduct, over exceedance. I think instead of a letter, because I gotta fill out what they call an OEL, an over exceeded limit for the TTHMs. I think we just, after that's in, I'm waiting on Chris to get that back to me. I should have early next week. After that, that should be the information that we offer the public. That document has to be submitted to the state by September, and it'll have possible reasons of why this happened. So I think that would, instead of a letter, just give them the document that the state requires, and it should have all the information. DSV, we had our hearing, we were approved for the subsequent DSV from 2024 to 2024 to 2029. It was a win. We got our limits raised. From the winter months was 15, summer months was 10. We got them raised to winter months 35, summer months 20.
Nice.
So we're hoping we can really fill that gap and then as as we work to the final project, the numbers will go down. Any more you want me to touch on that?
No, I think what I'd like to do is present to the board the timeline that was discussed during that meeting. What we need to be doing by 25, what we need to be 26, so we can fidget our budget. When are we supposed to have that cover on? When do we do the nano bubble technology that was talked about, but I never saw a timeline on that nanotechnology other than Chris offered that we are going to be doing it. But I need kind of a timeline, so we're not waiting till 28, and then we wonder, oh my gosh, how am I gonna?
Yes, and I think Rector was wanting to get sometime, maybe on the 11th, to talk about that. And he'll
Maybe
give
we
it a
should
little
just
more
start at
detail.
7:30
The
a.m.
timeline, as we know, kind of already got juggled a little bit because now Denali Waste Products will be here in September to remove a little bit of our sludge. He didn't realize there was so much sludge in the cells, but it's been 24 years. And this should be a 5-year rotating maintenance is really what it should be. So
Did they tell you any money for that? To
he
remove the
did.
sludge?
It's gonna shock you, but it's not crazy. So they already pulled the permits. They will be hauling our sludge after they dry it to some farm field in New Mexico. They already have the permits drawn, ready to go. They plan on being here in September to start hauling. Again, he didn't realize we had such a volume of sludge out into the remainder of the cells. So our plan is to focus on the fermentation pit. That's the most important part of that plant. And then in hopes the nanotechnology helps us out with the rest of the cell. So he is offering $1 a gallon. And he has us penciled in for 85,000 gallons to be removed. Now, like I said, this will be new for me, but we're gonna bypass cell 1 and send everything into cell 2. And we need to dewater that cell as much as possible. We don't want to be shipping water. So it's gonna be a fun project. That way they can just come in, barge the fermentation pit, move out. So they are supposed to be getting me some contracts. Oh, surely you guys need to look at it. So you're looking at roughly 85,000 to do the fermentation pit. Chris actually come up and met with Mike Sharp the day he come up to get some samples. Chris said that's a really good price. That's all I have to go on as far as what the project looks like.
So 80,000 gallons is what they're taking out of there?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be like half, a third? I mean, do you have any idea?
I think I'm really hopeful that'll be the entire fermentation. That won't be anything. And if you remember, the fermentation fits a pretty small area in pond 1.
Kind of, yeah.
So that's where all the magic happens. That's what makes that plant work as well as it does. They say anything over a foot, you should remove the sludge. We're almost to 6 feet of sludge in the fermentation. But I'm hoping with dewatering the best we can with some pumps, we get that part done. That's my hope. And then, like I said, the nanotechnology helping us out with the rest. But that's as good as he could do. He didn't realize there was so much to deal with in here. And the original AMS that we recently had a couple of years ago, look at that. They wanted to do fermentation pit, pond 1, pond 2, and it was roughly $200,000.
187, pretty sure the number came up, right? Or 182?
187 is.
187.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's in my head.
When are they gonna do it?
He said in September. I haven't got a date. I'm sure it'll be on the contract once we receive that next week. The good thing about this is he come and took some samples. I'm kind of eager to see them because now they're gonna be testing for that new PFAS. They're gonna be testing all these different parameters, but once we get them parameters, we know what permit we need to pull in the future. And then if we can pull the permit, we could probably find a local farmer maybe interested in taking this, and we don't have to ship it all the way to Mexico. So I think the future changes. Anybody's interested?
No.
I'd like to come see it.
She was one a long
Yeah.
ways away.
Yeah,
I
okay. Me too. I've never been a part of this at all. So I think it's gonna be really
We're
great.
definitely gonna have PFAS in that, though, probably.
I don't
You
how
know,
would.
I asked that
I
question,
don't know how
and
you wouldn't.
because when you look into PFAS under CDPHE, they actually have a map of where it's been reported, the limits. Mike seemed to think we're gonna be right there below the detectable limit. So it'll show we have some,
No way.
but he seems to think,
As small as that sewer lagoon is, and with all, I mean, every washer is gonna be putting PFAS into.
Well, and dishwashers and all those little Tide Pods, all
he
that.
said the
crap.
biggest trigger on that, and
That's
I've
right.
I've read this, the biggest trigger on that is cities with industrial use. And what really sets them off is like carpet manufacturers and things like that, the plastics.
Yeah, but-
Polyester.
It's also a concentration, solution is the dilution, or dilution is the solution, right?
6 feet of sludge.
Yeah, 6 feet of sludge, it's gonna have PFAS in it.
I'm real curious to see it, because I'm
It's
interested
gonna
too, but no, I asked him that, because I thought, okay, here we go, so we're gonna get these samples. They're gonna give us our data, and we're gonna go on the map. That's, because I was with you, and he's like, nah, he's like, I really doubt it. So it was kind of mind blowing to me
Okay.
too.
Where are we going to, how are we gonna pay for this?
It's gonna have to be out of reserves.
Do we have nothing
We
there?
do. Mhm,
Do we have to modify our budget?
Probably.
Once we get caught up, now we'll only be doing it when it reaches the foot, that will be a lot less. So,
Right, didn't we come up with a continuous maintenance plan?
We couldn't even find anybody to do it, though. That's the
No.
problem. That's why it wasn't in the budget, because we couldn't find anybody to do it.
If the dream comes through and the cover gets installed, and we get all the new aeration, the nano bubbles reduces the amount that's left in the cell. It'll be nice, because you can walk out on that floating cover and you'll be able to do your sludge results. So you can keep a better eye on it than bringing our little tin rowboat out. It's a mess.
I'd like to watch that too.
I did it once, I wouldn't like to do it again.
Christie, you were shaking your own for it.
No, not at all.
Well, it's this big pipe that has a button on the bottom, so when you go down and then you pull it back up, it locks all the sludge, and then it has your water level. So when you're pulling it back up, and this thing's like 30 feet long, it's just dripping all over you. It was a mess. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited for that. Couple of small matters I'd like to just talk in case you get asked. A conversation with the courthouse and the new sheriff's department getting built on the land that the old high school was given to the sheriff's department.
That's also gonna be on
And
the
they're gonna
July
build a new
11th. meeting.
courthouse and the sheriff's department, I believe I haven't seen any plans. So they had an owner rep contact me where's the water services, where's the wastewater services? Their plan is I told them, more than likely, you're gonna have to purchase a new tap for this side of the work. Because I don't think it'll tie into the whole courthouse system, go that deep in the basement. They are hoping and willing to just tie on to the 2-inch service that exists for the courthouse. They'll know a little more once the engineering comes out on capacities, hydrology, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with one big service for both parts of the same unit. Do I go into detail there? Just leave it. Are you guys okay with that? Or would you prefer them to buy a new tap? Or that?
I thought that was gonna be parking lot. They changed their vision or what?
There will be, I think, something similar to the parking lots that's already there out on Main Street and on College. But there will be a building sitting next to the memorial.
Well, there will be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
There'll be a courthouse and the new sheriff's office.
July 11th.
I haven't seen
That'll
any
come before the board.
design, I haven't seen anything on it, but that's just what we've been hearing.
There's not a lot of room there, is there?
There really isn't, really isn't, and
interesting.
Well, they don't. I mean, there's a whole high school there, so. The sheriff's office, it's just gonna be a sheriff's dispatch, right?
and the courthouse, I think.
And a courthouse? What are they doing with the other courthouse?
I don't know.
They ain't enough room for a courthouse. What are they thinking? I can see an expansion on the dispatcher, the sheriff's office.
We've heard courthouse.
That's the only two things I've heard. Like I said, I haven't seen any details or drawings or.
I did agree with Mike. That whole place up there is divided in lots all the way through it. And I think it needs to be deeded, and I think it needs to be, get rid of the individual lots and make it one, since it's a commercial property. I don't know who did that in the past, but they need to re-deed that. They were thinking about not putting a deed and transfer deed, and I told them from my perspective, when it comes before the board, I'm gonna vote against that. There needs to be a deed. I don't care whether it's school and county, and there's a mutual agreement. You need to have a deed and get it the right people on it. That's just paperwork.
And
I don't know how much pushback you're gonna get from that, but
I'm wanting to say that is kind of where they're going, because I know Huddleston has already went up there and surveyed the possible lot that this thing's gonna sit on.
Yeah.
So that would combine all them splits. I think I know what you're talking about. And then, once it's filed with the assessors, that's when all that'll change.
They
Where
wanted
does
to,
their water service come from? Does it come from Maine?
Yes. In between the school property and the driveway of the patrol cars.
And that's 2-inch? And they just wanna tie into the same one? And they're not planning on sprinkling that building.
I would say no, because the county's in the past been against that.
County wants to burn down, you know, they need fire department.
Their theory is it's cheaper to rebuild the fire damage than pay for the water damage.
They don't care about.
I remember
firefighters.
But I'm okay with this is why I'm okay with the same tap. And then also an additional sanitation line. Is just above the tap fee, which is 3,000, and then they install a new tap. And pay for all the meters and any parts that go with that. I really liked they wanted to tie in because we make more money on over usage than we do on 5,000 gallons. So I wasn't gonna argue that.
And when they tie in, the town will have say to get them in compliance with shut-offs. and-
Yep, shut offs, that's what I meant with their owner's rep, and it's gonna have to be regulation 11 protected, so all that has to go in. I would like them to put one in right by the meter and protect both buildings to the best we can. They do have isolation, protection, but I would like to see a mechanism right there by the meter. So, yes. So,
Mike's probably not gonna get us a fire code before, maybe. What are they thinking of constructing this?
Well, they're government also, so maybe.
I
Maybe
have
we'll
not
have a
heard
fire
any
code.
dates,
It'd be really cool if the county didn't put up another several thousand square foot commercial building. It's not built to fire code. That's my feeling. I don't have much say in that, I guess, unless we enact a fire code.
Right.
I know he's working on it.
I have not heard any timelines of when this will happen.
Just a preliminary, probably researching. As far as their water, I mean, I guess whatever you think, I don't have an opinion either way.
We did the math and it benefits us and they're happy with it. It was their idea.
If they want to pay for overage, that's fine.
Cause it, what did they run, like 41,000
Anywhere from 18
gallons
to
to
40.
41? Mhm.
So they're already going over that 5,000. And then that's when our price really jumped. So I'm good either way, but I was okay with what they approached me with.
And they pay for a new tap being quick, wouldn't they?
Mhm.
It's kind of short sighted.
Anything else, Dave?
So our neighbor approached me with this thought, and this is something that falls in my lap, but I do want you to be aware, is he's wanting to redo his parking lot. He approached me with somehow he owns that curb that divides the property. I disagree with that because the curb and the sand is poured into our parking lot. That's usually who poured the curb. But he, off the wall question, wanted to make some curb cuts to divert the water over to our side. And to me, that's a water trespass. And I'm gonna say no.
And we should have a really, really recent survey that
We
would tell
do.
us exactly that.
We have
Right.
one.
We do have a recent survey that we did, but all it says is they accepted the curb as the property boundary. There's no ownership of the curb, but to me, it was poured at the same time all the other curbs were, and we get the pan that goes to the pavement.
Yes, and no, we don't want this water.
No, we don't want to cut the
Well,
curb.
Just as Dagan was saying, when we do something over here, we're gonna have to stop our water from trespassing on the midnights.
So, just in case.
Yeah.
He gets upset,
It's
you
fair.
know,
Yeah.
but no, I'd rather not cut the curb.
If he's gonna asphalt it, if he just did a little V channel next to the curb, that'd take care of that.
But I don't know why he couldn't channel it over there and then it just runs down to our drainage.
Yeah,
back here.
that's it.
Question.
Okay.
I got one quick one for you. At some point, I thought maybe you mentioned you were talking to the secondary water folks about the pond that they have and talking in the past about maybe taking that over. Is that the next?
So I believe that was the original intent of that system, is Dolores Water Conservancy come in, they installed it, they got it up and running. In the hopes of the future, the town took it over. I remember that conversation with Sunny. I've heard it throughout the years. And when Ken Curtis stopped by here the other day, he did mention that they would probably be still interested in giving that to us.
Okay, a couple more questions on that. Do you happen to know what size that pond is? How many acres?
I've heard two numbers. I've heard 6 and I've heard 12.
Yeah, it's 6.
Okay. It's not a ton.
It's not real big though.
I remember it being 6. It was like 6.27 or something.
Right.
But yeah, it's 6.
6. Would you guys have any interest in pursuing
Yes.
taking that over?
What's the pond? Where's the pond?
It's up by the tanks, to the left of the tanks.
People think it's ours already. but
Yeah,
It's where we used to have the limb pile.
It's straight north of Main Street, basically. The tanks sit here, and as you come up on Main, and the soccer field's here, it's gated in.
Yeah, instead of
probably
taking the turn,
200
you just
feet
continue
from the
straight.
street. The last time we talked about that, the thought was we could probably supplement one more full-time employee and or raise wages with taking that on and the income from that and the management of that. In summer months, we'd have that person who is really busy getting everything going, but then, you know, serving other capacities. I think it would benefit us a lot.
Yeah, because there's sure a lot of folks that are unhappy with when their pump goes down, then you're out of secondary water and you're long dead. No one seems to give a crap, so they'll get out there a week later and deal with it. And I think it'd be a good service for us to take over. And maybe help us with some of our water storage stuff that we're paying for, that we're, you know.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone
So-
has interest.
Would we use our vested water right to fulfill that? Or would DWCD still sell and manage the water? Would we take the whole thing
I would say,
or just manage it for them?
no, I think you take it. I think you take the maintenance. I think you take the,
And we have the water,
I'm saying we have 280 acre feet. or
yeah, so
whatever.
we can, it's us selling more water, it's,
yes. Yeah, I think that's how we would want to do it. And then if we needed extra, we could buy it from the worst part.
it would also give us the option of one other thing that we talked about last meeting. And that is to, find a couple of those mains where we could put some fill hydrants on. And or even put in a second water dock of some kind. Off of
Raw
that
water dock?
system. A raw water dock, yeah.
So does it feed the secondary?
Yeah, that raw water line that comes into our ponds
Mhm.
also fills that. DWCD fills up their pond. We pay our tap fees and our money, but I mean, yeah, I think it'd be excellent and probably enough that we could justify one more full-time employee. Or bring our people up to more fair compensating wages for the extra workload, but it seems like more and more you get in these projects where another full-time staff member would probably be pretty great, and this would offset that in the budget. I mean,
Yeah.
Be a free addition, and all the infrastructure's already there. No
Yeah,
upfront cost.
Don't worry about
it's not the best. They usually have a couple issues here and there, freezes. But I do think it
Be
would be a
busy
good
on the
idea
front
in
end of the
future.
season and busy on the back end of the season. But again, instead of 2 ditch riders running the entire town, I mean, 4 or 5 of our employees go out there, they get knocked out pretty quick.
it.
Yes,
Is there any, I haven't actually been past the gate, I haven't looked at that close. Is it just like a fence around that pond, or is there some land that comes with that?
it's pretty much just depends. There's not much around it.
Is it our land though? Or is it theirs?
I think we
It's our
probably
land, right?
gave that to them.
Did we actually, did we give it or did we lease it for nothing?
I don't know what that agreement, I'll try to dig something up.
Anyways, the
Well,
other
ask
side
my
of that
dad,
is,
because he's the one who did that. whole
Because,
thing.
yeah, I think we would have provided that for them to make the project happen, to give them a storage place.
On the assessor's site, it
And
looks
I
like it's all
Like
of
what you're saying,
ours.
all but
So
the
we
raw
must
water
maybe do
stuff.
You what?
All but the water dock.
And that whole thing is
All but the
non-jurisdictional.
water dock?
I like everything you said about the water dock.
Raw water dock?
We make more money off of it.
No,
Cold water.
we were talking about for fire water.
Oh, yeah,
If we had
couple of
a
hydrants, yeah. that'd be
dock
good.
up there that
So
was
they're not just flowing out of
accessible.
our potable.
I
Yeah,
got
so
you.
that they're not
Okay, I
going out
thought
of
you
our
were talking
potable.
like water dock.
You-
Yeah.
Not selling to the
No,
public.
you and I had talked about the fact that if we put in a water dock off of that, then we could circulate tankers through.
You
It
could-
wouldn't be for sale. I
it
wasn't
would
talking
be-
about for sale.
Oh,
I was
pressure,
talking-
okay,
Yeah, just
yeah,
so
and
they
it would
can
be
take-
pressure filled, so it'd be fast.
Yeah,
Good.
And that's non-jurisdictional, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Do we
Yeah.
own enough land that we could expand that reservoir at all?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
There's no telling what's in it. I buried things up there for 15 years.
I've got all kinds of ideas. about
But
that stupid
no,
place up there.
yeah,
We
I
talked
think you
about
could.
a community lake or pond, where you could
Yes, that would be
kind of
awesome.
neat, wouldn't it?
Be awesome.
Because we've got the water for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're paying for it. And then one other question I had, if you were able to expand that, make like a town pond, whatever you want to call it. Would it be possible to run, like, have a pump at that pond that could pump to our one or two reservoirs at the water plant? So if it got low, we could transfer.
Yeah, it'd be feasible because they do connect already. So you could just.
So in the interim,
Additional pump that would.
yeah, so in the interim, if we don't have pond two built, reservoir two built, and we get low because the canal gets shut off again or something, we may have an extra water storage.
6 to 8 feet,
Yeah,
yeah,
which is not a ton.
right.
which we wouldn't even need the pump's already there.
Yeah.
Just need a pipe. Comes off that pump and connects back into our raw water line.
That way, when we get ready to shut off the secondary for the year, whatever water's left in the pond, send it over.
Or even keep it brim full.
Yeah.
That's another 6 acre feet.
Yeah, cause I do believe you wanna keep that full with the liner. Not, I think there's a happy medium right there.
And we could still use it for fires in the off season or.
Anyways, I'm gonna drag on about that, but if it's possible, I think it'd be worth pursuing.
Yeah, see what it would take. I mean, I'm sure there's some infrastructure that they'd like us to buy, right?
I think they'd give it to
I
us.
think they give it to,
Right.
the lining is in need of replacement. There's some work that needs to be done, but
If they give it to us, absolutely. I'm on board.
I do believe they will.
I think that would be
So too.
And then we could
awesome.
possibly encourage that if we ever started charging them. Owing them on the water we deliver.
I think we are more of a headache to their big vision than what. I think they just turn it over to us. Here,
I do,
you take care of it, let's sign right here.
yep,
It'd surprise me if they wouldn't.
because any change they make, they have to call me because it's my valve. So they'll tell me, okay, I need another 150 gallons a minute, so I have to go adjust my valve to give them what they need and also give what we need. So I do think they would
I
give
like
it to us.
it a lot. Yeah. Awesome. Do it,
Okay.
take. And then I'll just, I don't know, it's probably very similar, but I'll ask my dad what he remembers about that. It seems like it was one of those like, we'll lease it to you for 100 years for $1 or something. So,
So that's probably close of what she is remembering it, that would fit your story.
Yeah.
Because the assessor already has
Has
it.
it
on
as
name.
ours? Mhm. the whole
If
area up
it's in our
there.
name, the only way they could do it is either by lease or I imagine it's probably a lease. Well, just look it up. No card. Okay. Anything else from Mr. Dagan? How are you over there?
I'm good. So we got the clerk's report. Read through that. I've been working on our budget, getting everything to actuals, which has not been done before. We've been digging into it. Looks really good. That means, so we pay salary out of the general account, but then a little bit goes to streets, a little bit goes to enterprise, a little bit goes to Parks and Rec. So getting it all allocated out so that our budget shows where we're actually at. Which is a little bit more difficult than it seems, because you've got 5 accounts to work through. Let's see. We have gotten onboarding started at the next bill pay. I don't think you were here last time, but we've got this hub. I don't know if you've ever paid your Atmos bill or Empire bill, but you go on and you log into the hub. And so only your account shows, and it shows the last 24 bills that you've paid. So you can go back and look at your water usage, what you've paid, and then you can set up auto pay. You can pay with a credit card. I think you got Apple Pay. The beauty of it is people don't remember their account numbers. So they have to call us to get their account number to make an online payment. For this, you just log into the hub and you're rocking and rolling. And it was like $300, something like that. And we're also doing paperless billing, which comes with that. It's like 11 cents versus I think 90 something cents if we do a postcard. So anyway, we're onboarding that, getting ready for that. I think it'll probably be going in September because they've got to create a hub for us. So it takes a little bit of time. We've been working on sending out letters to the post office. Because right now people just drive anywhere they want to. They don't follow the road at all. So I think we're about ready to build a fence. To control that, we gave them 30 days to comply. They haven't complied, so we're going to build a fence, and then if they don't pay up, then we'll attach a property lien. For that. Yep, we gave them 30 days and we haven't heard anything. We've also written letters to Buddy Young on both properties, giving him 15 days to tell us what he's going to do to clean it up, and then 30 days to complete the task. Once again, if he doesn't complete the task in 30 days, then we're going to clean it up and then attach it to his property and then auction the property off to recoup the money. We've been writing a lot of weed letters. I've met with Family Dollar and they've been great. Family Dollar over here. They've chopped all their noxious weeds. Got all of that done. Dagan's working on a fence right here between us and Midnight Parking too. Yeah. I'm still working on a landscape plan.
So when you say we're gonna build it, we're gonna do these fences, we're gonna clean it up, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that just means we're gonna find somebody.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just put out and accept bids for it.
And unless it's under the bid amount of $5,000, then we don't have to submit for bids.
Right.
What's the legality of it? Notifying them, we're building your fence. It's so much fun. I'm so excited for you.
They've been notified.
They have been, yeah.
Nobody can really tell you who owns it. That is the weirdest deal.
They didn't do the deed properly when it was done, so they're working through it.
Who does the post office pay rent to?
The person that we notified. But it might not be the correct owner.
Yeah, that's what Tori said.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess, but it's not our mess, so that's good.
Tori absolutely loves the letter, so that makes it easier.
Okay.
Just so you know.
anything else?
You'll notice I added a little bit to my clerk's report in the middle on the second page. It talks about average water usage for meters. I thought it was kind of interesting. It breaks it down a percentage of sales of how much people use and how many accounts use that amount.
Who's the one user that uses over 50,000?
They use it for cattle.
Yeah, that would be the person who's working on the industry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should've-
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think we have 2 on the docket for July 11th for court for ordinance violations. The property right over by Carhart's. They decided to move all their trash from the front of their house to the back of their house. Why they didn't just move it into a truck, I don't know.
Any questions for Lorraine?
Money market account's doing good. We've got 30 people on auto pay on ACH. No hiccups.
So we've collected 17,570 from tickets. Which is paying for the stuff we spent on the judge and court couch.
Yes.
Cool.
They wrote more than 1.5 tickets a day.
Or we just can't get them to do any more now.
I think there's an interesting thing on the Dolores County Sheriff's report. If you look up at the top, it says animal problems in town and animal cruelty. I'm curious as to why they're not writing tickets for the animal problems. Like dog at large tickets. They're not doing any of that.
The contract. Will, in the executive session, will we be able to address some of these questions?
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to see how he reacts. He may just get up and walk out.
$4,000 more than it comes to us.
On that note, the second quarter sheriff's contract is due at the end of this month. Do you want me to hold off on paying that until we have this executive
I think the
session?
agreement's already been made. I think
Okay,
you're gonna have to go ahead and go forward with that. Any changes will be in the future.
Yeah, and we should probably make it where even if we negotiate a new contract or walk away from this or whatever, that we continue the 2024 year out and then visit about starting
2025.
2025, January 1st, 2025, or whatever the fiscal year is, or I think that's probably, instead of doing it in the middle of the fiscal year.
I agree.
And then that also gives us the opportunity to us to come up with some ideas and then present it and allow him to also not just like punch him in the face with this and be like, accept or reject, like, hey, take this back and come back to us with thoughts, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, the first year and they have a new group of commissioners too, and I know that money just losing their pool anyway, so
Yeah.
maybe something they wanna.
It's all about expectations and how does he meet those expectations and is he interested in it? I just want the traffic slowed down. It's just not happening. It's 40, 46, got it, it ain't happening.
I'd be willing to drop a few grand on a truck just to try it, cause I think that's the way to go.
Is what,
A vehicle, like we were talking earlier,
oh, yeah,
a stage one. I think we'll see better results from that than we
I
will
do.
Cause I don't know, the ride along I did, they're stopping traffic, or at least they were the day I was there, but you can't stop them all. And there's just too many,
Too many of them.
and we don't run 24/7, and I don't know how.
And I heard more than one sheriff's deputy say it basically. They don't like, they hate doing it. They're not gonna do it. Every once in a while, they feel like they have to.
Right, but they
Just
don't.
keep up appearances.
But yeah, you'll think that when there was a race where one car was going in beside trucks, he was doing this,
Yeah.
you know, trying to get in front of them before they got through town. Somebody's gonna get killed. Then they may think about, well, I really hate to do this. Just a matter of time.
I still like that road diet idea. It's like you go over to Monticello, it's the same highway. They have the additional parking. People don't go through there. ever.
Just narrow it down to one lane and make
Yeah,
it slow
and then
down.
make it nice for the businesses in town. Already limited parking.
Have the race outside city limits instead of inside.
Yeah, and what's her name, Allison? What is it Jennifer Allison?
Yes.
Jennifer? I think Jennifer was on board with that idea. You know, it's CDOT, so it takes time to do anything, but maybe we should.
As long as we pay for the study.
Well, I thought that the study was, the front end part of it was already paid for. They already got the preliminary stuff to support it, right? And she said something about there was funding out there that would help with that, where
Yeah,
you
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have
that
that
big of a cost.
opportunities. Yeah.
Right, and it's a timing thing, when the funding comes available.
So I don't think it's gonna cost us anything, do it. So part of that $84,000, go to that.
Liz has been on a roll too. She's written, she wrote another micro grant, so we should be hearing on that pretty soon too.
I would like to have a map on the wall, the map that we've got on the sewer lines or the water lines to run together for my liking. I'd like some kind of map that just has the water lines so we can determine where the dead end lines are and have a plan, like Sally mentioned on her side, getting this done. I'd like to have a plan. How are we going to connect all these lines? We've been working on that project, but how many dead end lines do we actually have, and how do we try to in this rebuild of infrastructure, how do we get them tied in to where we don't have this?
Is there layering on that GIS tool and app that we have?
Yes. So we've been trying to get you something. The GIS mapping is good, but it's not quite there yet. You know, it was just a baseline to start. Sally's is very interesting to me, just because it stops. I'm assuming it stops 40 feet shy of the grid. And then it goes all the way through over to Marion and connects. So that would be a fairly easy tie. But in my mind, I'm thinking, why would they stop there? So I think a little bit of exploring to make sure, because maybe it does tie together. The map I'm looking at, I'm assuming because it stops right there behind Rickers. And we have a grid that runs down the fence line. Yeah, so.
Are you wondering why it hasn't been done before?
Well, I
Because
have
it
no
was so
idea why
short?
they would not tie all that together.
Well, I do know that Bob Driver one time had it planned. But then George shot himself, right? In the stomach or something. What happened to you?
I think so.
Anyway, it ended up where Bob was doing everything and it just never,
Okay,
so I mean, that was, oh gosh,
Well, she-
late 80s.
Yeah, it's 30, 40 years ago.
So I mean, you know, that's just,
but yeah,
I don't know.
I'm gonna be interesting to dig down and see what you find. If it stops right there, it just doesn't make any sense to me, but But, that one won't be bad, and then the next one up, which would serve Tony Buckington and Quincy. That's as far as that one goes, and that's a very short leg, a very short dead end. And to carry that one all the way to,
That's all.
yeah, that would be a tough.
That would be nice.
But you're talking a smaller line, I want to say that's a 2-inch line versus a 4-inch that you're on. You're 4-inch. Anyway, yeah, we've been looking at it. And trying to get you something to work with.
Thank you.
We're running that extra hydrants and helping, so. I haven't seen the dark water come out of the faucet in the mornings. You know, so I don't even know if it would, or not.
Okay, cause yeah, we did flush a little bit on your line behind Rick's there. And well, you guys probably seen it all over town, but. Yeah, I don't think that one would be too bad at all.
And your sewer maintenance program got delayed a little bit with all your other stuff, but I assume you're starting up sewer maintenance again.
Well, this is about the time we do that. This year, it seemed like it's been ongoing, nonstop. Which is needed, but yeah, the regular routine maintenance usually starts about this time.
So I'm sorry, did I miss, how many dead end lines did you say you had?
Well, if we don't,
Let me get back with you.
Oh,
yeah, I don't
that's
even
okay,
know, if we know.
I thought maybe you said a number.
We've been concentrating so much on that dead end line because of the Blue
That's a
Mountain
big one.
Cafe and as a testing spot. You don't test over by Sally's, right? Or do you? I don't think you do. I think we test that Blue Mountain line.
Yeah, for the DVPs we do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna wait 10 for that, but. I'm gonna say.
Where would
10
your
right now.
tieback be?
What's that?
Where would you tie back into?
Or which one? We could just run it right, just continue behind Rick's and connect to that 6-inch main that goes down to First. And then out to the Hatfields. That's the one, that's the biggest one, the one that goes to Hatfields, the one that goes to Carol Marie, Sally, Sunflower, Johnson subdivision,
Copy or?
Copies is a dead end. Right, yeah, those,
We already fixed that.
at minimum, put a blow off out there, that's, we don't even have that.
That would be nice.
So I have a question for you. And I've kind of been pondering this. You said you knew that there was one hydrant that would supply enough pressure to fight a fire when you were down there. Are there other hydrants in town that you know are good that you could use? Is that something that everyone knows?
Like in town or on the fire department?
On the fire department, and you would probably, I mean, the town employees.
Yeah,
would
so,
probably know.
Years and years ago, back in the 90s, late 90s, the fire department pursued a project for ISO insurance service. I don't remember what ISO stands for, but anyways, they went through and they tested the entire town. They tested every single hydrant in the town. And so they came up with a number of how many gallons per minute. And they pursued an ISO, and then I pursued an ISO in 2000 and, basically I re-upped it. It hadn't been done in, I guess it would have been 2018 because it hadn't been done in 20 years. And so I went through, we pulled some data, they can provide me a bunch of information, but we have a map in our fire trucks of every hydrant in town with the approximate gallons per minute. And we've always known, we color coded them, and there's one light blue color and the light blue color is in the, and it's right in front of Bruce House. So I know that to be the best hydrant that we have in anywhere in Dolores County. So I just knew that off the top of my head because that one always sticks out as our best hydrant. And so when I saw I needed a hydrant, I knew that was the one, and I also knew that that one on the highway is junk. It's a fine hydrant, but it doesn't float anything.
So is there quite a few hydrants in town that you replace them?
Yes.
Were we talking at some point about doing a couple of years or something just to try?
Yeah, we've talked about replacing some hydrants. The one in front of Carhart's would be my #1 pick. And then all of these on 4th Street would be my next picks, I think.
They're all the same.
They're all those. So the newer those old hydrants, they have a big bell on the top, and they come out with 2.5 inch discharges. And all of the more modern hydrants that are still 40 years older than I am, but all of them are the ones that are rounded like it up by your house, and they have we call it a steamer, but the steamer is a 4.5 inch discharge, and then 2.5s on the side.
Okay.
All of these, and correct me if I'm wrong, these all have also a gear in the top of them, right? These old ones.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes.
And so they had this old gear reduction system, and that was something that if you rebuilt them from time to time and you serviced them occasionally,
Yeah.
and so we played with the idea that Carhartt's on fire. I bought some special equipment to be able to tie in both of those and bring them into one, and then bring them in just to see what we could get out of it. We couldn't run it down hydrant, and then our flow was, if we had a fire in Carhartts with the fertilizer and all of those tires and stuff, we don't know what we would do.
Be the same thing for Tim's spot up there, kind of like.
Yeah, and Tim's is worse because there isn't a hydrant. There's not a hydrant to service there. Our nearest hydrant would be Carhartts, or there's one down by the water dock. That's it. Can't think of another hydrant over there.
The only other one would be up for the cemetery.
Sure, there's gonna be like a grant available for that, right?
Quit reading my mind.
Oh, yeah, it's like, shoot. Not even building anything fun, just replacing stuff to save people's lives. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we purchased a hydrant test kit. Fire department did. I wanna say just under $3,000 for it. And we tested a few, what, 2 or 3 years ago. And then we get all the tests approved to Floyd Cook, the difference between pressure and volume with all this stuff with the senior center and their tap and all that stuff. So, we have the ability to do it, we just a hard thing, it's something to not throw on these guys, and not really their job, but also volunteer firefighters only have so much time. And there's also the thing too of, if you don't do it right, you can really cause some damage to the system. So, especially our old system, and yeah, going back to like, before Dagan was in the position with Sonny, like we'd break a hydrant, tell him, and he was like that. Well, we don't guarantee fire flow. Yeah, but the hydrant won't even turn on. So can we get it fixed? And stuff like that. So it's just, they've been neglected for a long time. Pretty tough shape. And some of them are just, some of them past their probably used by date by our lifetime.
What does a modern hydrant run?
Can you tell me 10 or 12? Or hydrant?
Yeah, without the valve. If he doesn't have to replace the valve, we can probably buy a good hydrant for somewhere between 10 and 12, would you say?
Hydrant?
Yeah.
when the county bought theirs to do on that fire line, I want to say they were around $1,000. Then you had your valves.
$1,000 for a complete hydrant?
For the stem and the hydrant. But that was a long time ago. Longer than we remember. I have a new price sheet I was supposed to send Mike.
If they're $1,000 a piece, we're replacing some hydrants here.
We have some that's on the board. We have several, and we're gonna target the ones you're talking about.
Now some more cordless sets and some more.
Yeah.
But it's just been crazy, but.
Yeah.
No, we have a handful of hydrants we'd like to get in service and take the ones you're talking about out.
That one by car is pretty scary,
Yeah,
and it's curving.
yes, and there's.
And then like this one, I mean, target hazard of the lunchbox, this building, and the church. And then this one, is a target hazard because it's a house, but no, right across the street, you got, all of these tankers, all of this stuff. And then the next one up on the corner of Dove is the same way. Which there's not any target hazards there, but. My house.
the downfall of what we're anticipating is those hydrants especially, I think were installed with no valve.
They don't have a valve on?
No,
Oh, well, we gotta fix that too. Cause if we blow out one of those and fighting a fire, then we've lost our whole system.
yeah, unless it's buried out in the road somewhere, but even on the maps, that doesn't show valves. So, I don't know, we'll probably get to one this year. We'll find out.
There's also a really, really excellent one out in front of the county shop. It has no pressure, but it has so much volume. Because there's nothing between it and the tank. We have a main that comes across on what is slated as 11th Street. It's the unpaved road at like at the end of all the streets.
Okay.
That 2-track is actually 11th Street on the plot. But there's a main that comes down, and I believe that's 8, right?
Yes,
There's an 8-inch main that comes directly from the tank. So it has no pressure, but when we tested it for volume, because I took them from bigger tips on, so it's an excellent hydrant.
yes,
And their argument with us was, well, the one right next to it, Montezuma's, has like 190 PSI
Yes.
on it? We can get like, we can only get like, I want to say like 300 gallons per minute out of it or
it's only
something.
320, huh?
And, we were having this argument, and I was trying to have this explanation. I have a $500,000 fire truck that will produce all the pressure I need. I need volume, like fire, not pressure. That's what my fire truck does. And so we have some excellent hydrants, and that one's one of them.
Mhm.
We just, there's some of them that I think were put in before as kind of an afterthought of, oh, we'll throw a hydrant here, probably the cheapest that they could find. It's super outdated, so.
And then you have the piece together, you go from 6 inches forward back to 6. Yeah,
Okay, anything else?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn, right in a second. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.